Hi, and welcome to this new episode of Just Another Autism Podcast. And my name is Tony Hernandez Pumarejo. I'm the guest host for this new episode of the podcast. And today, as we celebrate and recognize Hispanic Heritage Month, I had the honor and privilege to interview a two-time Emmy-nominated journalist, but more important for me, a leader and strong, a real advocate that for many years has done so much and continues to do and work tirelessly for our autism community. Throughout the Caribbean, Latin America, all the way to the United Nations. I have the honor and privilege to interview my dear friend, the one and only Sofia Lachapelle.
I love you. I love you so much. You know why? Because when you say all those things, I say, who is that person? Tony, I have the honor of having you interviewing me, a person that represents the magnificent, the beauty, the kindness of autism in a human being. You and so many autism ambassadors from Latin America, from United States. The honor is mine because, yes, I've been interviewed many, many, many times, but autistic people like you that are so professional, it's what we need to have in media. Please, I mean, you will never have a journalist so special, so precise than you guys.
Appreciate it, and yeah, and your work. I mean, I always say it. Your work and what you've done for the community. The work speaks for itself, and being there as a fighter, an advocate for our community is so important. I think on behalf of our community, Sofia, thank you so much for what you do. And to start,
I'm so happy to have you to meet you in person. You don't have to thank me. I thank, first of all of the humans in this planet that has a diagnosis with autism, because you guys make the road for a different world. You guys are teaching us parents and teaching humans, and I hope somebody listens.
Absolutely.
And a new way of living. You guys, for me, you guys are like fresh water in this world that it's contaminated. And when I say contaminated, it's for selfishness, for so many ugly things. And you guys, everything that comes from you guys is beautiful.
And not only that, but also by the families as well. And I want to start with that, with this very important question. How did your journey in the world of autism start?
As a parent, as a frustration, as a lack of information. Don't forget, I'm a journalist. My base career is journalism. So as a journalist, I have to talk to people. I have to let them know things that they don't know. Information is power. So when I saw back on the days myself, without information in my language, in Spanish, I was frustrated. It was out of frustration. It was out of that need of having information. And yes, I love United States, and I'm very appreciative of this country that it's the leader in information for autism, like Autism Speaks, which, by the way, was my first organization that represent this community. And I went far and beyond, and you will say later how. And that's how it started, out of frustration for having little information, but I'm talking about 15, 20 years ago.
That was that problem, and yeah, because the information in regards to autism, today compared to, let's say, 15, even 20 years ago, back then there was not a lot of information about autism as there is today. So you being a journalist, you have covered so important stories, especially 9/11. And now to work with this process of finding answers to what's going on with your two sons, if you can go more in detail, I was in that process of finding your evaluation.
It was back on the days. If you want, even today, if you have somebody that has been diagnosed, it's like a block. When we parents we listen, your child has autism. It's like you freeze. It's like a freeze zone. It's like fade to black. It's like white, and then you kind of like doesn't matter if you are has a PhD or you are just a beautiful housewife, you become like a blank page and you freeze and you say, what now? Where I'm gonna go? And then you start this craziness. And having to search quickly and fast information to help my kids, like you guys, was the way to also recognize that if I was a journalist and I have to be every day talking to others, why not talking about also autism? And I was very like fresh, I call it, and I start asking for places to go and speak with parents. That's how it started. Like, I want to talk to parents. I was like, talk about what is autism? And there were people that were like, what is that? I said, in schools, I started like just somebody that wanted to speak to others. Never
Like a support group,
like a support group. I never thought about having, and that came moving forward. I never thought I will have the honor also to use the platform of media to spread to millions of people the same thing we were doing in private groups.
Yes, and as I said, I've followed your career, your story, and spreading that message. I think you may have been the first one
In the Spanish community,
especially in
yes.
Hispanic media to talk about this.
Yes.
How was that
It was very
that awareness?
it was not me. I want to also, and I also say this when somebody like you interview me, it was a producer in Telemundo, Claudia Foghini, because you have to say the name of people who see and have a vision. She was a producer back on the days on Telemundo Network that I've been between Univision and Telemundo. Very appreciate for 30 years of career. And she looked at me and I said, you know what, Sofia? I see you coming here working every day. You talk a lot about your kids and you talk a lot about autism and every day, but then you never complain and then you always hear how you do it? And I said, I don't know. And it's true. Sometimes we don't even know, parents, how we manage to jiggle in between things. And she says, you know what? I want to show to the people out there how you do it. Maybe and I say, I know it's a lot of people there, but it came out so, from this person that has the power to do it. I was just an employee. I cannot ask nobody for nothing. And even back on the days when nobody believed in nothing in autism, they were like, what is that? And she says to me, can I put cameras in your house? Hidden cameras. And I was like, yes, why not? Reality shows back on the day. And I was like, wait, I was married back on the days. And I said, let me ask the father of my kids if he's okay. Because of the stigma, like some people, they don't want to expose their life, which is wrong. And he said, okay. And this lady asked permission to my employers back on the day, Telemundo, and she allocates 6 cameras inside my house. And that was the first time somebody that was a public figure in the Latino market exposed, if you want to say in a beautiful way, because I did it with all the respect and love. I was returning from work back home and took care of my boys and the therapist in the house, and how it was like my daily life. And when we presented in a 5-minute story, it was like opening a door. We received so many phone calls back on the day. Like, Sofia, I have somebody like you. Sofia, I have somebody like you. Sofia, they were even amazed.
Yeah. And that was back then. And today, according to the CDC data, 1 of every 31 children are being diagnosed with autism here in the United States. So if you've seen those stories back then, just imagine those stories today.
And there's still Latinos. I only can speak about my niche. Back on the days, it was like few people, not public, not even like private or services in United States, and forget about Latin America. That word was, nobody knew about what this was. Yeah, people that maybe few organizations that have 30, 40 years, but then they were hidden in their own houses, like nonprofit, tiny nonprofits. But back on the days, Latinos were afraid because for Latinos and other cultures, and there's studies about this, having a child that was different because they didn't know what it was. It was not cerebral palsy, it was not Down syndrome. It was something that weird that they don't know, they didn't have a name. And when they were receiving the diagnosis, because of our culture, because of our religious beliefs, and maybe because of afraid, a lot of people were afraid to say, I have a child that is different to others. And that was my mission, to break the barrier of fear. Because when you have fear, you are incarcerated and you cannot do anything. And that was the mission too, to put myself on the target, to expose myself, my daily life, and tell everybody it's okay. It's okay. You don't have to feel embarrassed. You don't have to hide. You don't have to, because they need to respect us. And it doesn't matter what language you speak.
And your work speaks for itself. Going through Caribbean and all Latin America, breaking those barriers, breaking those stigmas. And let me say it, breaking and fighting against a lot of ignorance in this journey. You have pushed and you have been behind so many, even laws in different.
Yeah, yeah. So we parents were crazy. I mean, you will never see a parent that has so many driven moments in things to do, that a parent that has somebody with a disability. And for those who are not, you're not alone. We're here. We're a battalion, and we can take you by the hands if you cannot, and put you on the front and teach you how to do it. But I want to say, Tony, to Autism Speaks, I met the founders.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I met the founders in a trip to New York back on the days. And I was like, I want to be part of the Miami chapter. I was nobody in this field, but I had this hunger of information, of learning. And I'm very appreciative of what Autism Speak teach me, because I was like, I need to do this right. If I'm going to be the Latino voice, I need to learn from people that is doing it right. And I learned through Autism Speak how to, it was difficult because we parents were so emotional and we don't understand many things, but thank you. And this is very real. I want to say thank you to Autism Speak Miami chapter in New York, because I learned how to work in the right way.
Absolutely. And we appreciate you. And we say thank you to you and to many parents, because the families are the driving force. We're here for our families. We're here for them to fight, to support them. And Sofia, from journalist, mom, to your two sons, and this opportunity to advocate, to be a voice for millions of families, especially in the Hispanic community, which they feel that their voice, because of those stigmas, because of that ignorance, their voices are ignored. This got you to even present at the United Nations at one point. How do you feel? How do you felt when you were at the United Nations on Autism Awareness Day, advocating for our community?
It was one thing takes you to another. And like I said, in this road of autism, there's never enough. You need to continue learning, looking to learning from the others. And I don't even remember how I ended up. I know I was a moderator of a panel. And it was such an important, it is an important platform to see how the world works, how we're doing things. And every day I put a goal that succeed the other, because there's never enough to go learn and spread the information for those who are behind. And I appreciate also those parents that have kids like your mama and your dad. You're 35-year-old, my kids are 20. So we have to be working on a legacy of work. This is a non-stop journey. I appreciate the parents like your parents that has autistic people that are 40, 50, 60. And I want to say to the new parents that just have a child diagnosed, you're not alone. We're a big community. And this is a legacy of learning. It doesn't matter where, but do not stop. Go everywhere you can. United Nations, go. It's an open door. Go to Autism Speaks. Go to your school. Do everything. I took every classes. I went back to school. When they were saying there's a seminar for parents, I was there. Now you can do it your home in Zoom, Never stop learning.
It is the education never ends.
Never.
Especially for our community. The parents, I always talk to the parents. You have to be the best advocates for your children, and you have to educate, get the training to be their support for them.
And the right support. Mira, for parents, it's so important for us to understand, Tony, that you need to know what you have to ask for. Because we become so emotional, and it's okay, but you cannot spend your whole life being the victim and advocating just by your emotions. If you go to school, that's why trainings like this type of organization does. Take all the trainings, listen, go, because the only way to advocate is if you know what is supposed to be served, what is supposed to be given. You need to learn so you can go to school and say, hey, there's not the right accommodations and modifications. Or, hey, my son or my daughter is not being well allocated in his job because of this. And it happens in every other field of your life.
Absolutely. And that's the reason why it's very important to get that support. And also at the same time to know that families are not alone in this journey. You cannot take this journey alone. You just simply can't.
No, you can.
And that's the reason why the community, is so important.
Working together, and especially working with you guys. I learned from my boys. And yes, we really, and this is important to say, other people that they do not have somebody with autism, you guys are welcome to learn from our world. We need you guys. We need you. It's the best one-on-one is having somebody, and the blessing to have somebody at home, like a son. But then if you are a brother or sister, somebody, come over, and we're going to teach you how to help us.
It's absolutely, it's very important for the families to get involved. This is families, very important. And I know we have still a couple minutes, so I can still ask you some additional questions if you don't mind.
I don't mind. I have the best journalist interviewing me here in the house.
Speaking about your two sons, right now...
one of them is calling me, but I'm going to continue. Another thing we learn as parents is, look, right now, this is like live TV. You're talking to me. We parents with autism, we have to be multitask, right?
Exactly. Yeah, this is something,
I'm going to answer my phone that my son is texting me something. He's supposed to taking care of our dog that is in the groomer. And I'm going to be answering him because then it's important to pay attention and follow him while I'm still doing this. And we need to have training for this.
Absolutely.
With all your respect and the viewers, I need to answer my son, and I'm going to continue doing this because I've been trained.
Perfect. Well, Sofia, speaking about your two sons, they're 20. I believe the eldest is 20 years old. Is that correct?
Yes.
And the second is almost 20 as well, right? Yes.
Maximus is 18. Francis Jason is 20. You're right.
So, and it's very important that I mention the ages because in the world of autism, there is this important and critical process called the transition phase from the school services to adult services.
Look at this. This is so important. Look, I want you guys to do this. Mira, this is Francis Jason. He is He's driving, like you, and you know how to drive, right? Because I remember. My son is driving. My son is taking care of our dog. He took the dog to the groomer because Mama is here doing this interview with you. He's texting me, Mom, I need to pay. And I say, you know what? Don't worry. I'm going to send the money. But this is something that for you parents that are studying right now, and you say, my son is not going to be able to do nothing. Yes, they're going to be able, but this is part of the training. Look, I'm going to send the money, and he's going to pay the groomer, and he's going to take the dog back to the house while Mama is doing this with you. How you call this?
This is,
My son is being trained to be kind of in the having independency.
you see, that's a great example.
And this is life.
And no, this is a great example of believing in there's no limits.
No.
The potential.
Look. This is my big grown-up man with autism taking care of the family dog. Simple. I'm so proud of him.
The world, there's no limit in what our, loved ones with autism can achieve.
Look what I did. Another thing, like parents with kids with autism, you need to tell people, and this is something that is important, and this is not rude. This is our world. We need to tell people around us that when you have somebody with autism, the priority is pay attention to them when they need it. For example, I'm talking to a friend, and that's why we lost a lot of friends, we parents, and we lost a lot of people before the diagnosis, because they don't understand that taking care of somebody with autism that is on training is the most important thing. Every time I walked into a room, for example, even at work, I asked permission to. I would say, "Hey, if for some reason somebody called me or my son contacted me, can you please allow me 2 minutes? Take care of that and then continue." When I was visiting somebody, I say, "Hey, if my son needs to do something, I have to stop. It's not by disrespect. It's just because he is on training." This is exactly what just happened in life now. He is on training.
And going along those lines, as I was talking about the transition phase, how has that been that process for you at this time?
Right now, what happened? Transition is not easy.
It is not. That's one of the biggest challenges that our families face, in that transition phase, because, as you know, and the sad reality is that after ages 21, 22, it becomes more difficult.
After high school, this is like now they're adults, you guys are adults, and what's next? And then that next step for adult life, it's like, I call it, it's like going back to some things, but then it's another learning process. And that's what I say, this is a never ever stop learning, Tony. Like right now, I have other kind of goals, I have other fears, I have other challenges to overcome. But what I just did now, never stop training. The parents, caregivers for somebody with autism, we never stop training. Never.
Education never ends. Training never ends.
I love your podcast because this is what is right to do. Before we read a lot, and yes, it's good to read, but the real life, going life, I'm sure and I know for experience that is stick to people, and people can learn faster when they see it and hear it.
Absolutely. And I know we have just a couple minutes that I can ask you at least one more question. For this, Sofia, and again, I appreciate you.
I'm so happy
your story
today.
has been truly amazing, especially important for support for our families. You've done, journalist, mom, advocate, entrepreneur.
No, and I still have other things to do.
And so many things. I mean, for those parents out there that they're watching right now, especially in our Hispanic community, I'm gonna ask you if you can share with them a message. What message would you have for the parents?
It's the same message as always. And I'm going to go back to authorities. United Nations says that Hispanics and African Americans, we are the communities who are still behind in early diagnosis and early recognition, and that follows, unfortunately, late treatment. One more time, we cannot be the still behind. I mean, look at this. Latino, thank you to Autism Speak to speak all the languages. For autism doesn't have a face, doesn't have a language. We're all one. Do not continue with the bad ideas of this is something that I have to feel embarrassed or ashamed. No, there's no more excuses. For the last 10 years and the last 5, there's a lot of information for autism in every language. There's a lot of testimonials. Back on the days, I felt alone in the jungle. Now there's no more alone. There's everybody talking. But please, be careful also. There's a lot of people and organizations, not this one, that say they know what they're doing. Also be careful with that.
Absolutely. And going along those lines, we invite our families that are watching this podcast to please contact Autism Speaks. As you know, we have the Autism Response Team for any resources and supports that are out there to help your family and help your loved ones. So, Sofia.
I want to go back to be an Autism Speaks person now in another maybe area of service. But I would love to be back to work with my community. I am now a veteran journalist. I'm not working every day. Now I'm more again, I'm back to go stronger and less fearless to continue advocating for our people.
And that's what you say, fearless.
I am no more fear because I believe in God and God created us equal. Amen.
Sofia, thank you so much.
Thank you for your existence. Thank you, Mama, your daddy. And thank you for all those humans with autism. You guys are valuable. You're the best ones in the world. And parents, we were blessed to have them.
Absolutely. And again, this has been an episode of Just Another Autism Podcast. This has been Tony Hernandez Pumarejo. Thank you so much.
Thank you.